Congas, electric pianos, vocals, strings, really funky bass lines, those are all the things I associate with the music of Persona. And so when Persona 5 The Phantom X was announced, I was incredibly excited, as were many of you I imagine. My name is Corey, or Everything Fantasy, and today I want to do an analysis of Ambitions and Visions. Now, I haven't played the game yet, and I have analysed the song briefly before, but let's do a reaction, a proper deep dive into the song itself, composed by Ryota Kozuka. Now, I'm used to Persona themes composed by Shoji Meguro, and I suspect actually this won't be too much different, despite it being an entirely different composer. I have my piano in front of me. Of course, naturally I've chosen an E-piano for obvious reasons, because they feature so significantly in the Persona soundtrack. So, let's get straight into it. This immediately reminds me of Wake Up, Get Out There, the kind of do-do-do, do-do. But this time we have a really interesting rhythm. So we're in the key of E minor to start with. But for any musicians out there, we hear this F a lot, which is outside of the key, and it immediately sounds like it clashes. Because if we listen to the bass again, it won't. It went. It's playing an F instead of that F sharp that it's supposed to do if it were playing in the key, and that creates that what I call the very Persona-y tension that we're very, very used to. In fact, that F followed by the B creates a tritone, the kind of the devil's cadence, that sound. It clashes, it sounds very tense, it sounds very Persona-y, I feel like. So if we kind of break down what was played there, so it was something like this. It's that bit. That's where I start to feel the kind of all is not what it seems.
You don't care, walking the dust off. Is that what you do? Is that all you're made of? Whatever ain't right, wrote it on yourself.
One thing I've noted, the two observations from that is, first of all, Lin and Izumi doing amazing on the vocals again. Honestly, I know some people feel like there's been too many kind of Persona 5-esque games in the sense of the amount of games within that series of Persona. I just get excited because I know I'm going to hear her voice on a Persona soundtrack again, and I'm all for that. If there has to be another 10 Persona games just to hear her vocals combined with the funky instrumental, I'll take it. I'll personally take it. I'm very happy about that. But in terms of observations, I've noticed that for pretty much all Persona, so I'm thinking of Wake Up, Get Out There, Colors Flying High, Life Will Change, Beneath the Mask. There are very few of those songs where she starts singing immediately on the downbeat. So the duh, the kind of the 1, 2, 3, bah, when the bass goes. She either sings just before leaning into it, or just after. It creates that kind of very jazzy, very funky feel to the entire song. Also, a bit of a side note, there are two instruments that are happening here that I feel like go so under the radar when it comes to Persona soundtracks, but do such an amazing job of setting the mood and the scene. It's two that you might not be expecting me to say. One of them are the congas, tapping away in the background, and there's also a triangle as well, which I think is helping to really create that funky rhythm. I don't feel like they should be kind of the key features or something I'm even calling out, but it's so easy to latch onto the bass line going, because it's just so in our face. But let's not forget the kind of like the ones that are slightly under the radar, but are pulling its weight as well.
Revisit your act, return top parallel. Living on a guideline. Then there, down, gold up and dead. Instead of being bitter, back up, go grab your keys.
You know what? What I want to do right now, actually, I want to switch to the lyrics version of this song. I'm sure there must be one somewhere. Progress.
Look like you don't care, walking the dust off. Is that what you do? Is that all you're made of? Whatever ain't right, wrote it on yourself. Revisit your act, return to parallel. Living on a timeline.
For some reason, I couldn't tell that they were saying progress in the background. The filtered, distorted-esque vocals before Lin starts coming in with the main vocals. I didn't know that's what it was. I don't know the story of the game or kind of the context of it. Despite I personally played and finished Persona 5 Royal. I played a little bit of Strikers as well. I'm not sure about this. But I feel like there's so much consistency across all of the Persona games, both Royal and the sort of side spin-off games as well, in terms of the lyrics, the mysterious, the overcoming something kind of feel to them. The idea that like, oh, we're blending into the background kind of thing. It's such a consistent theme across all of the main themes at least. Maybe Colors Flying High, maybe a bit of an exception, but the others absolutely for sure. I love the bass line as well. Let's try and figure out a little bit of the bass. We have... that F again. It just creates this feeling of like tenseness. Like I feel a little bit uncomfortable hearing that. Don't get too kind of relaxed yet. Otherwise it would sound like this. And it sounds too happy. That feels like if you think of this in terms of punctuation to me, that sounds like a full stop. That sounds like a question mark to me.
Hold up and there, instead of being bitter, back up, go grab your keys.
Rapping, wow. I didn't think that was within a skill set, but it's amazing. It actually suits it really, really well. I love the change in the drum rhythm at this point as well. I love that. Oh, it's such a familiar thing with Persona. Like different composers, same idea. Like, it's amazing. I think the pinnacle of like an amazing composer is when they can add their own personal feel to it. And I think there are things in this track which just feel really different from other Persona soundtracks, in terms of the main themes at least. But it still feels like Persona. It still feels really familiar. It sounds a bit more like, I'm thinking like edgy in a sense. A willingness to be a bit darker and grungier, especially with some of those instruments that are happening in the background. But it still feels like Persona, and I think that's the beautiful thing about it. Oh, those string slides. Another shout out for the strings and the string players at least as well. Disco-y. Very, very disco-y as normal, as you can expect to hear from Persona soundtracks, at least particularly Persona 5. I love the phrase that the strings do. It sounds something like... It sounds something like this. I don't know, there's just something about it, how it kind of like interplays with the melody line and the rest of the instrumental as well. I think the beauty of it is the strings aren't used too often. They're used just enough to be able to create that kind of disco feel without feeling too excessive. So just like... And there's some tremolos occasionally as well, but nothing too upfront and in your face. Just kind of like, when you feel like, okay, we need the intensity to go back up again, we hear kind of... And when it dies down, we just hear some tremolos. Meanwhile, the bass and the drum kits are just going crazy as always. I love the drum rhythms throughout as well. It's kind of like... with quite frequent changes. There's a clear difference in the drum patterns. We hear more rides, I think, in the pre-chorus. And that introduction, where we just hear the kind of the bass drum playing every beat, makes us feel kind of hyped. At least I do. Like, it's one of those tracks which are like, the more I listen to it, the more I fear that I'm just gonna want to play the game. And I know I still have loads of other games to get through, but I just want to hear more of the music. I want to hear the battles. This is the only track from the game I've actually heard. And immediately I love it and want to keep playing the game. I think Atlus are really, really good at musically bribing me, in a sense, and saying, hey, you heard this music, now you have to play the game. That's what got me to play Persona 5 originally as well. I'm a music composer for games, and I've personally done lectures at certain schools, and when I talk to people who have never played video games before, and try and introduce them to the variety and diversity of video game music, because I personally believe that no matter who you are, you can love video game music, at least some form of it. What do you think is one of the games which I always showcase? It's Persona. It has to be Persona, because whether you're somebody that likes video games or just likes funky tracks, that likes, for example, the Bee Gees or any sort of funk band, or like any sort of modern funk or jazz, or even some old school stuff, you're probably gonna like the Persona soundtrack. In fact, I've had people not even realize it's from a game. Sometimes I do a bit of a test with people and I'm like, here, listen to this track. Do you think it's from a film, a game? Do you think it's just a song? Most people think it's just a normal song, but in reality, we all know what it's really for. Okay, before we go back into this link section, because I imagine we're going to go back into the... I instinctively played the G, but it's not that. Because we have a B minor chord here. But I think we're going to go back into that. But I wanted to mention the lyrics for a second as well, because we haven't spoken much about them yet. I think the lyrics do such a good job of telling us something and nothing at the same time. Like, if we think about them, we had things like getting over like a barrier and we won't get cut off one step at a time, for instance. Progress, the idea of kind of like moving in steps and everything. It does a good job of like subtly hinting at what I imagine the story's about. Like, I have a few guesses without telling us anything really. Like, I don't know a thing about this so far. And I suspect if you haven't played or know much about Persona 5 The Phantom X, you might not be able to guess much either. In fact, if you haven't played this game and you don't know anything about it, let me know in the comments, what do you think this is about based on the lyrics alone? I think any guess is probably quite valid and probably quite close to the truth, realistically.
Act like I don't care. Why even bother? That's what I thought.
Oh, we got a swing rhythm now.
Maybe you are right. Wrote it on myself. I'd better stir up. It's time to break the spell.
Before going back into that chorus. Oh, I love that. I have a thing with songs that suddenly sort of like slow down in tempo and change the drum pattern quite considerably. I think sometimes it can be done really effectively and other times it can feel like a bit of a gimmick. I really like this. It doesn't feel like a gimmick to me. So for the drums, we have some rim shots. And then we go back into the pre-chorus again, which feels much more upbeat. But I like the contrast, the difference, the willingness to kind of like be a bit out there. And that's the thing, like the artistic style of Persona 5 and the music are like a match made in heaven, in a sense. Like they just fit each other like a glove, to put it that way. Like the Joker's glove. Kind of like that. Like they fit each other so well. Rap section. Tremolo strings again. Da 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 da. Ooh. Are we gonna get the drums come back in yet? Or are we gonna fade out to an outro? Chorus, double chorus. Outro. There we go. Oh, what a fantastic track. Oh, such an amazing piece of music. I'm going to be listening to this to death now. Like, I do this thing called song analysis where I have, for the past pretty much 1,200 days or so, have analyzed one song every day. So this is like thinking about the structure, the mix and everything. And if I bring that up for a moment, and this is part of it, I kind of like, I go through the details of the mix, the dynamics and everything, my thoughts on the stereo image, effects that are used. I give a kind of a basic breakdown of the structure too. And the thing that I mention here is like contrast more than anything else. I just love the contrast in this in particular. I haven't done this kind of like much closer breakdown until now, but just listening into it really broadly, the thing that really stands out to me is the word contrast and style and being contemporary and fun and in your face. I love those, as a bit of a side note, those very kind of grungy synth-based sections in the pre-chorus. I feel like that's something which Meguro would have been less likely to do, potentially. Who knows? But this just does such a good job of continuing and maintaining the sound of Persona 5 that we all know and love, while still feeling like it's brand new and it's fresh, and it does something different. And that's the thing, is that I don't feel like it's becoming stale yet. We think of like a Persona style, and I've even done a remix of a few different songs from like Danganronpa and Deltarune and other games, a series of games and everything, which are inspired by Persona, which you can find here. But the key thing is, whenever I think Persona, I think, gotta get the electric piano, gotta have a funky bass line, I know they're gonna be congas in the background too, and as soon as they start putting each other out, I'm like, what's missing? Oh, the strings as well, those really short spiccato string lines and those trills and everything. And you realize, wow, Persona has such a strong identity, more so than many other soundtracks across loads and loads of video games. It's hugely inspiring for me as a composer too. This idea of, how can we make a game which is consistent, stylish, but doesn't become stale? And I think Ambitions and Visions does a fantastic job of continuing that idea. So, if there are any other series of games which you think I should analyze the music of and do a reaction to, or another remix, hopefully you enjoyed some of the remixes that I've made in the background as well, but let me know in the comments. Until next time, take care. Goodbye, my friends.